As we approach the end of the year, the United Nations is looking back on the number of missing persons around the world. The women, men, girls, and boys who were trafficked for exploitation. UN up and close this week, as always, are Oh Sooyoung.
Women and children represent the majority of human trafficking victims across the world, according to the biennial report by the United Nations Office on Drug and Crime. Based on a study of some 17,000 victims detected in 85 countries in 2014, 51% of the victims were women and 28% were children, most of them girls.
Victims who are trafficked, they could be anybody. They could be women, they could be children, they could be men and girls and boys.
The report says that the majority of the female victims were trafficked for marriage or sexual exploitation, while the rest were mostly forced into labour. Men and boys were typically abducted for forced labour as soldiers or slaves. Some of them were subject to sexual exploitation and organ removal. Between 2012 and 2014, more than 500 flows of trafficking, either within or between countries or across continents, were detected across the world. The report notes that a worrying development is the movement of refugees and migrants, the largest seen since the Second World War. Migrants from countries with high levels of organised crime or conflict-ridden areas are said to be more vulnerable to trafficking, violence, abuse and other forms of exploitation.
Traffickers, they target those who are fleeing the wars, refugees, and we, for example, saw an increase in the numbers of Syrian victims during the recent years.
Currently, 158 countries, or 88%, have criminalised human trafficking, a huge improvement from just 18% in 2003. But only a few countries are reporting and responding to the offences, according to the UN Crime Agency. The report stresses the need to devote more resources to identifying and helping victims, as well as improving systems to bring human trafficking offenders to justice. Oh Sooyoung, Arirang News.